104.
This is Learning with Leslie. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Learning with Leslie, the podcast where we focus on making an impact from home, at home, and beyond. No, I'm not talking about the kind of impact that's here today and gone tomorrow. I'm talking about the kind that will last no matter what gets thrown at it. I'm your host, Leslie Samuel from IamLeslieSamuel.com, where we're changing the world one person at a time. And as usual, I got another exciting episode for you today. In today's episode 405, we're going to be talking about what I'm doing right now to take my content creation and consistency to the next level. Let me ask you a question. Do you struggle with content creation? Do you often maybe get started and then it just kind of falls by the wayside? Is committing to consistency something that makes you feel a little nervous? Well, if that's so, this is the episode for you. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about my struggle with consistency. We're going to talk about what has worked for me when it comes to consistency and a drastic step that I'm taking right now to just take that consistency to the next level. So if you're a content creator looking to take your consistency to the next level, then that is what we're going to be talking about today. What is up? I'm so excited. So if you're watching this on video, you're going to see that we're somewhat in a different kind of environment. I'm actually right now at home in St. Martin. That's the island that I'm from. And I decided, hey, let me just record this episode outside in the yard by our home. And so because I'm doing this out in the yard, there are trees around, there are plants around, there are dogs around. You might hear a dog come by, and the dog might start barking like crazy because these dogs go crazy for some reason. But we're just going to do it here because I wanted to do it here, and I'm always excited. So we're going to talk about a topic that I believe is so significant, and it's something that I've struggled with. And I know it's something that a lot of people struggle with because even just recently when I posted something on Facebook, someone asked me, how are you so consistent with your content creation? And in my mind, I respond to this person and I'm like, wait, no, I'm not consistent, or at least I'm not as consistent as I would like to be. So I want to explore that a little bit. And I want to share with you something that I am doing right now, which it kind of freaks me out a little bit. It's literally the reason why I'm recording this right now where I am. But we'll talk a little bit about that in just a little while. Before we get into today's topic, I, of course, have to let you know that this podcast episode and all of the podcast episodes I've been recording recently is brought to you by Ecamm Live. Ecamm Live is the program that I'm using right now so that even though I'm here in St. Martin and I'm outside in the yard recording this, I can still pop a lower third on the screen. I can still play the audio intro to the podcast and all of that good stuff because it's like an all-in-one video production studio for your Mac. I can record this right now while looking at the dog that is coming in front of me and sniffing around because of Ecamm Live. So if you want to check them out, take your video production to the next level, head on over to ecamm.com/Leslie and use the promo code Leslie, and that's going to save you 15% off your first payment. And on that note, oh look, I'm gonna even drop the thing that I drop in the middle of the episode, the animation, the super fancy intro right now. How am I doing that? This is such an unprofessional introduction to the episode, but it's all good. Because I'm using Ecamm Live, I can do it. And here we go. I just love that. I'm in the yard and I could do this because it's just one click of a button. Okay, so let's talk about consistency. When I started my online business, this was back in 2008. I knew that content, well, I didn't know at the very beginning, but as I started learning about content creation and blogging and all that good stuff, I started to see how important content would be on this journey. I started a blog, I started a podcast. Eventually, I started my biology blog. And with my biology blog, I started making videos. And the more videos, the more content I created, the better things went in my business because it was more opportunities for me to get out there to put my stuff out there and for people to stumble onto it because somebody shared it on social media or because they did a Google search or something along those lines. And I started seeing that the periods where I experienced the most significant growth were the times when I was most consistent with my content creation. When I look at the growth of my YouTube channel, I grew most, and I've grown most when I have been consistent with my content. But here's the reality, right? Life. Life is the reality. And sometimes things don't go the way I plan, or sometimes I just don't plan well enough. And as a result of that, I might go for a while creating content, and then all of a sudden I fall off. And when I fall off, obviously, there is less traction. I lose some of that momentum. And that's not a good thing. Now, I can say, you know what? That's life. Life gets busy, life gets hectic. I can come up with whatever excuse that I want to. But the reality is, there are people whose life is more hectic than mine who are extreme. Do you hear the plane, by the way? There's a plane passing overhead right now. I don't know if you can hear that on the mic because I can't hear what you can hear. But anyhow, this is part of the scenery. I'm looking at the levels of audio right now in Ecamm to see if you can hear it. Yep, I think you can hear it a little bit. Anyhow, so there are people that are much busier than I am. I'm not really that busy. There are people that are much busier than I am that are consistent in their content creation. I want to consistently show up because I've seen the effects of showing up in a consistent way, and I want to experience more of that in my life and in my business. By the way, I apologize if you're hearing a bunch of wind. I can't edit it out. It's just the way it's going to be because I'm in a windy yard. So the question is, how do I get consistent in what I do? Now, when I look at other areas of my life, there are certain things that I'm extremely consistent with. Right now, health and fitness, I've spoken about this a number of times. Health and fitness is something that I'm very consistent with. I'm looking in my Habit app right now, and I'm seeing that today was day number 1,549 of me exercising every day for a minimum of 30 minutes without skipping a day, man. That's consistency like I've never experienced in my life. And because of that consistency, I'm experiencing all kinds of other positive effects because I'm exercising regularly. So I don't get tired as easily if I'm playing a game with my kids. My kids have a harder time keeping up with me as opposed to when I used to have a hard time keeping up with them. There's so many benefits that have come from that kind of consistency. Today is day number 420 of me doing my Bible study and prayer routine. And that has transformed so many aspects of my life. Consistency has been, for me, the key to accomplishing amazing things. So I want to do that when it comes to content creation. I don't want to be the guy with the excuses anymore. The guy where, I post a podcast episode every week for 5 weeks, and then I fall off and I don't post a podcast episode. The guy where sometimes I engage on social media and sometimes I don't engage on social media, depending on how the tide flows. I don't want to do that anymore. I post videos on my YouTube channel for my biology stuff, interactive biology. I don't want to be the guy where I go for 6 weeks posting videos and then I skip 3 weeks, or I'm traveling, and because I'm traveling, I don't get stuff done and I don't plan accordingly. I want to experience the rewards of consistency in all of my content in ways that are similar to how I've experienced the rewards of consistency in my health and fitness routine and my exercise and my Bible study and the, other stuff that I'm tracking, the other habits that I'm tracking. But here's my problem. I've tried this before. I've tried saying I'm going to create content consistently and I'm going to track it. And it works for a while. For some reason, when it comes to content creation, that consistency, even though I track it like the other stuff, it always falls apart at some point, which then tells me something isn't working. And if something isn't working, I need to step it up a notch. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm stepping it up right now in a way that scares me. And that is exciting because sometimes scary things are good to do. It pushes us outside our comfort zone. And it makes us experience things in a new way. And I want to experience content creation in a new way. All right? So let me tell you what I'm committing to now. I'm committing to, number one, posting a new podcast episode every single Monday. Posting a new biology video every single Tuesday. Basically, every week. Posting on Facebook every single day. This is my commitment. But unlike my other commitments where I'm just tracking to make sure that I'm doing it, this one, I need to step things up a little bit. So I am giving myself a consequence to not doing it. Here's what I mean. I posted a video about this on Facebook, and now I'm saying it on the podcast because I want you to know and I want you to hold me to it. If I skip any of those days and any of those things, that's the weekly podcast episode, the weekly biology video, the daily posting on social media, specifically on Facebook, for the next 90 days. I'm just starting there. The reason I'll explain why I'm doing 90 days first in a little bit. If I miss any of that, I'm going to pay out $50. All right? And here's how I'm going to do it. If I miss something, the first 5 people to point it out will get paid $10. And now you might say, well, what if we didn't notice because we didn't check that day? Well, what I'm going to do is if I miss something, I'm going to fess up. I'm going to post on Facebook and I'm going to say, listen, I missed this week. Who are the first 5 people to comment on? The first 5 people to comment on this post, you get $10. That's what I'm doing. I'm giving myself a consequence. There's a consequence to not living up to my commitment. And it's a tangible consequence. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is because, when I used to have a job, I had to show up every day, every work day at least. And there was no choice. So what did I do? I showed up because I had to do it. But since working for myself, I don't have that anymore. I want to create that. And that's what I'm doing right now by giving myself a penalty, a consequence. If I don't do it, I got to pay some money. If I don't do it for 10 days, I'm $500 poorer. And that hurts. That hurts. I need something with a bite, with a sting. And losing $50 a day. That's sting enough for me. Now, let me tell you why I'm doing 90 days. This is actually something I want to commit to moving forward. But I'm doing like a 90-day trial period. After 90 or coming down to the end of 90 days, I'm going to reevaluate. I'm going to see, okay, do I want to switch things up a little bit? Do I want to make it even harder? So it's not just that I have to post every day or whatever. I have to post by a certain time. Do I want to add in another social network? Do I want to remove a social network and say, you know what? I don't really care as much about posting daily on Facebook. I want to adjust. I want to give myself a significant time period, which is 90 days. And then I want to give myself some flexibility at the end of that 90 days to be able to reevaluate. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, that freaks me out. But sometimes, like I said, sometimes you need to do that thing that takes you outside of your comfort zone in order to take yourself to the next level. This I've been saying since 2008. Consistency is key, and it's a thing that I struggle with. And just like I no longer struggle with convincing myself to exercise every day, I want to be able to say the same thing about content creation at the end of 90 days. Now, what's in it for you? Well, number one, if I fail, you could be $10 richer every time I fail. But number two, what I've seen is that I create content, yes, and content helps my business and all that good stuff. But the content that I put out there, it actually helps people. It helps you. I don't know how many times people have stopped me on the roads or sent me messages about what the content I'm creating is doing for them. I want to put more of that out there. I want to put more stuff out there. So yes, there's the business. This podcast. There is the biology stuff, and there is the daily posting on Facebook. The daily posting on Facebook is, some of it is business, some of it is biology, but it's really just me sharing who I am and what my thoughts are and sharing that with the world. I believe that is something that can benefit you in significant ways because I'm learning. I'm on this journey. This podcast is called Learning with Leslie. It's Learning with Leslie because, oh man, that's a lot of wind, and I could see the levels here. So you're hearing wind. Let me see if I can block it out a little bit. It's called Learning with Leslie because we're learning together on this journey. So I hope you follow along on this journey. Now I got to do one more promo because these guys at Ecamm Live, they support this podcast in a way that allows me to do this podcast. I stopped this podcast for a very long time, and now having them as a sponsor, it makes it possible for me to do this. And I'm tremendously grateful for them. And not just does it make it possible because they're sponsoring the podcast financially, but it makes it possible because literally their program, Ecamm Live, makes this podcast possible. If you have not checked them, I just posted a music video about Ecamm Live on my YouTube channel. If you have not checked that out, please check it out. It is hilarious and it is so much fun. I include some bloopers at the end. But if you haven't checked them out, check out the video. Once you check out the video, check them out at ecamm.com/Leslie and use the promo code Leslie when you go to purchase, and that's going to save you 15%. Man, I should have thought about this because I could have played the video in this podcast episode because Ecamm Live allows me to do that, but I didn't think about that. So I'm going to do that in a later episode. But that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. So let's play the outro music. How is consistency working for you? You're a content creator. How's it going? I want to know. Come on over to the YouTube channel. Go to IamLeslieSamuel.com/405 because this is episode 405, and let me know if consistency is an issue for you, and if consistency is something that you want to start working on. What are you gonna do to make that a reality? Let me know. And then maybe as other people chime in, you can get ideas from them as well that can help you on your journey to becoming more consistent with content creation. And maybe I can even learn a tip or two from you. I'm going drastic. I am giving myself a consequence to not posting. What are you doing? I want to know. But yeah, that's it. I head back home tomorrow. I'm going back to Florida. And I'm excited to go and be with my family again. That's always a blessing. I'm sad to leave the island because I'm leaving my family. And that's always, interesting. But that's life. My name is Leslie Samuel from IamLeslieSamuel.com, where we're changing the world one person at a time. That's pretty much it for this episode. Thank you for being with me. And until next time, take care and God bless.
Eight, 8, 8, 8, 3, 5.